focused on children. Their marketing research showed that brand loyalty formed as early as age 3, and that children in single-parent households had more influence over family food decisions. So they flooded Black neighborhoods with playgrounds, birthday party packages, and toys designed to create emotional connections between toddlers and burgers. They were literally programming the next generation to crave processed food. But McDonald's was the most ruthless of all. They pioneered what marketing experts now call cultural embedding. They didn't just advertise to Black communities, they made themselves seem essential to Black culture. They sponsored church events, community festivals, and school fundraisers. They hired Black celebrities not just for commercials, but to become public advocates for the brand. When a McDonald's opened in your neighborhood, they made it feel like a Black business, even though every important decision was made by white executives in suburban boardrooms. The results were exactly what they had planned. By 1990, the average Black family was spending nearly twice as much of the food budget on fast food as white families. Children in Black neighborhoods consumed fast food an average of 3 times per week, compared to once per week for white children. And the health consequences were starting to show. Obesity rates in Black communities began climbing faster than anywhere else in America. Type 2 diabetes, once rare in children, started appearing in Black kids as young as 10 years old. Keep watching, because what comes next will blow your mind. The corporations had their hooks in, but they still faced one problem: competition from the few remaining Black-owned restaurants and corner stores that had survived the economic devastation. These local businesses knew their customers personally, extended credit during hard times, and kept their profits circulating within the community. They represented everything fast food chains were trying to destroy: local ownership, community connection, and economic self-determination. So the chains declared war. Not openly, of course. They called it market expansion. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, and Taco Bell began a strategy of aggressive clustering. Whenever they identified a Black-owned restaurant that was doing well, they would open a franchise directly across the street or next door. They could afford to operate at a loss for months or even years. Their suburban locations subsidized the losses. But a family-owned restaurant couldn't compete with a corporation willing to lose money just to drive them out of business. Take the case of Williams Family Restaurant in Baltimore. For 23 years, the Williams family had served their neighborhood soul food, hired local teenagers, and supported community events. In 1985, McDonald's opened directly across the street. Within 6 months, a KFC opened next door. The Williams family watched their customer base evaporate as people chose convenience and lower prices over community connection. Within 2 years, Williams Family Restaurant was forced to close. This pattern repeated in city after city, neighborhood after neighborhood. Local restaurants that had survived urban...
Beware of day trading options. It's
economic disinvestment finally succumbed to corporate warfare. And with each closure, another piece of Black economic independence died. But the fast food industry wasn't satisfied with just controlling where people ate. They wanted to control the entire food landscape. They began lobbying city councils to change zoning laws in their favor. They pushed for restrictions on street vendors and food trucks that might offer healthier options. They fought against proposals for new supermarkets, claiming the neighborhoods couldn't support both fast food and grocery stores. In Detroit, documents later revealed through Freedom of Information Act requests show that McDonald's corporate lawyers helped write legislation that made it nearly impossible for full-service grocery stores to open in certain neighborhoods, while making fast food restaurant permits almost automatic. They weren't just opening restaurants, they were rewriting the laws to ensure they would never face real competition again. The most devastating part was how they weaponized Black entrepreneurship against Black communities. The franchise system was designed to look like Black ownership while maintaining white control. Black franchise owners took all the financial risk, worked 80-hour weeks, and faced community backlash when people realized how unhealthy the food was. Meanwhile, corporate executives collected guaranteed profits and maintained plausible deniability. If anyone complained about fast food destroying Black health, They could point to black franchise owners and claim it was black owned business. And this is where everything connects. By 1995, the transformation was complete. Neighborhoods that had once sustained themselves with locally owned grocery stores, restaurants, and markets now depended entirely on corporations headquartered in white suburbs. Money that had once circulated within black communities, supporting black jobs, black entrepreneurs, and black wealth building, now flowed out every single day.
This was a special piece that I came across, and it's hitting home. Uh, it really is, on the strength that I am a type 2 diabetic. And, did it come from McDonald's and fast food that I've been eating over the years? Who knows? But let's just say this. If you're not what they call a vegan, where you just eating veggies and fruit, and you don't eat eggs, you don't eat fish, and you don't eat that, you know, it's always something though. It ain't just detailed at one entity or in one entity. What I mean is, if you eat fried food, you're gonna have high blood pressure. If you eat a lot of salt, you're gonna have high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? If you eat a lot of sweets, you're gonna have diabetes. So I know I'm a combination of all of that. So now I'm trying to fight my way back to getting my body back at a healthy point and at a healthy level where I can live longer, and where as though I can grow old gracefully. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's very much an advantage to be settled down and being a family man. And I know the difference because I was out there in the streets and I've been married twice, and being settled down, not once but twice, I think saved my life by maybe 20 years. I mean, I feel like I got 20 more years left other than whatever my timeline is to check out. I think I added 20 more years because I've been married twice, and I'm gonna tell you why. I stopped drinking as much because I wasn't hanging with the homies, and every day I get off, I go around the way. One beer turned into a case. We drink, whatever we drinking, whatever popping at the time. Like shit, when I was out there, Absolute, Tangeray, Remy Martin, Hennessy. That was our drink of choice. I don't know what they doing now. Uh, you know, shit. With a whole crew, we'll go through maybe 3/5. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably 2, 3 times in a week. How many days in a week? 7 days, right? So out of 3 days of each week, we was doing that 360, 12 times a month. And we ain't counting going out on the weekend. We talking about doing the weekday when we get off work. The weekend ain't even got here for us to start popping. You know what I'm saying? Like where we posting up. So shouts out to my mentor, Nestor Holmes, you know what I'm saying? And I seen his son today. I need to call him in. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call him while I'm on air now. Um, you know, he told me, he say, man, look, I know you enjoying life, but once you start, and he wasn't the only one that told me this, because I was getting ready to go to LA, California. I had a girlfriend that was in the military, and once she got finished with boot camp, she wanted me to come out there. I didn't know she was trying to get me to get married and we get pregnant, and she wanted to move off the barracks, and then we get a house, and that was the way to do it. I mean, but only thing about that plan, she forgot to tell me. So I was going out there young and dumb, full of cum, thinking that I'm going to LA the as you kids say now, turn up. I'm like, I'm trying to go on Soul Train, and I might get discovered as an actor all the time. My girl at the time trying to get off the marine, off the barracks and get a house on the base, because the barracks is set up like a dorm. And she like, so that was the thing for the women to get married, get pregnant, and they can move out the barracks and get a house. So I told my mother, I'm like, hey, so and so finished basic training, and this is a flex, if you want to call it that. Uh, my girl was in the Saudi Arabia. What is that? Yeah, they went to go get Saddam Hussein. She was part of that whole flick back in '98, I think. And she called me from over there, and I had just got in, and I'm drunk out my mind, and I'm just got in and laid down, and my mother come banging on my door. She say, you know, I ain't gotta say her name, but she on the phone. She calling from the war, Saudi Arabia. I say, what? Drunk out my mind, right? I say, what's up, girl? She was like, it's so good to hear from you. I miss home. I miss you. I miss everybody. And, it's crazy over here. And, you know, and, uh, you know, and she was like, I regret signing up for this shit. I was like, well, you there now. So I don't care who you gotta, murk, you get your butt back here. So now, mind you, I'm drunk. So I don't remember word for word of what I said, but I did say something to that degree. And I said, then, me, I'm drunk. I'm talking like, girl, you get back here so we can get married and start our family and this, and woo, 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 woo. So maybe I egged that on when I said that. Because when she got back to the States, when she did make it back, God is good. She didn't get murked over there. And so maybe I started that. So I'm going to take responsibility for that. But when she got there and formulated that plan, she ain't let me know about it. But maybe she thought I was already on board because I said what I said. So I tell my mother, hey, I'm going to LA, and she get ready. She finished boot camp, and you know, so my mother called my uncles and was like, can y'all talk to that boy? He got his mind made up. He leaving. And my uncles, they all been military, and they called me over for a Tyson fight. I don't know which one, but me and a couple of my boys went, and you know, uh, they cut the TV off. Remember that scene in Menace to Society when they all standing around the room talking about, you messed up, right? You fucked up, right? So I felt like that scene, literally, right? They cut the TV off and they standing around me, big dudes, you know, everybody been sipping, so they wasn't feeling no pain. One of my uncles had his gun sitting on the table. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? I'm thinking I'm getting ready to get recruited to do something, right? I'm like, what's up? What's up with y'all? They were like, what's this? You following some woman to LA? I said, what you talking about? They say, your mother already told us what's going on. You know, what's all this? So I had to break it down to him. Look, old girl just got out of basic training and woo woo woo. And they were like, do you know what she asking you to come out there to do? She trying to get off the barracks to get into a house on base. So to do that, she needs you to get her pregnant and y'all get married. So question is, are you ready for that? I was like, nah, she ain't even talk to me about that. You know what I'm saying? And he said, well, that's what's getting ready to happen. So I said, nah, I ain't doing that. And then they was like, well, you know, like I know, you better not take your dumb ass over there all the way across the world because we can't help you over there. So you better stay here. You just finished high school, you ain't got no money, you ain't been to school, you ain't got no education. So question is, are you joining the military when you get there? I was like, nah, hell nah. You know, they were like, well, you know, rule of thumb, you don't follow no woman nowhere in the world. You're the leader, you're the head. A woman supposed to follow you. So we talking in the 80s. This was my uncle's talking to me. So that was, you know, I know the world done changed now and we can't be on that tip like we was on. Like, for instance, my father blocked me from learning how to cook. My mother was trying to show me, a couple of times when I was young, and my father had a damn fit. Like, what are you doing? Why you got my son in the kitchen? And she was like, when he grow up, he need to learn how to cook for himself. And my father like, what you mean learn how to cook? He get a wife for that. Get your ass outside and throw that football. My father was no joke. He hard as they come. So, but what was the trip was he knew how to cook because his stepmother taught him. Because my grandfather and my step grandmother, they worked, and before they got home, they will cook or heat up the dinner that grandma had already prepared, or she would tell them the ingredients and what to do, or you know what I'm saying. So he knew the basics, whereas though I knew nothing, right? So, and then as I grow up, become a teenager and into my adulthood as a young man, and I'm dating, the ladies expressing to me, it's a sexy thing to see a man know his way around in the kitchen. So that became a thing. You know what I'm saying? In the 80s and 90s and up to now. You're a rock star if you know how to cook. So I tell my father before he died, I say, you messed me up, right? He thought, like, what you talking about? I say, you blocked me for learning how to cook. You know what I'm saying? And I probably could have had way more girlfriends than I had if I could cook for them, right? And he bust out laughing. He said, well, look like you turned out all right. You've been married 2 times. So, you know what I'm saying? You ain't doing too bad. And it don't look like you miss no meals. And he bust out laughing. So we shared a moment because me and my pops ain't really had the best relationship, but his last 10 years of his life, we kind of reconciled. And, and there's two sides to the story. My mother gave me one version. He gave me another version on why they didn't make it. And, I'm mad with both of them at the end of the day, because they didn't keep our family together. But as a mature man, I can tell you, you can't make nobody love you or want to be with you. They gotta want to be there. So when one check out, You gotta let that person go. Nothing you can do at that point is going to resolve what already been done or haven't been done. Like on Steve Harvey today, a young dude or a dude, they did the strawberry letter, and dude expressed that, hey, I just need your advice on trying to fight for my marriage. My wife on the file for a divorce, and I'm doing everything I can to not go through with it. I even got in the church and trying to be a good Christian. And so, they got jokes. They like, well, what did you do? You know, you didn't even go to counseling. You went straight to God with it. Like, you must have messed up bad, right? And then I'm saying, like, how you know it was him though? And so and soon as I said that, Carl or one of them said it, they were like, you run to God, you ain't even go to counseling, or you ain't talk to the elders, your parents, and you did something crazy, and it's at a point of no return. So Steve's advice was, don't never let a man tell you twice that they don't want you. And you don't let a woman tell you twice that they don't want you. When they check out, they check out. Just go ahead and just face the fact. It's gonna hurt. Time heal wounds, and it's their loss. If you knew you was, or if you know you was a good individual in the relationship, you did what you supposed to do, and woo woo. And but if you initiated and you messed up, then you don't keep staying around in situations where you just getting walked on and dog walked, and people just keep messing over you. You gotta take a stand and let it be known, I'm not your doormat. I'm your partner. We in this together. And if it can't be like that, then yeah, this need to end. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get to a point where you can hurt somebody so much they'll blank out and hurt you permanently. You know, I'm gonna say Al Green. You know what I'm saying? Folks that know, they know. You know what I'm saying? Al Green went to sleep and woke up with hot grits on his back. Damn near killed him. You know what I'm saying? That's like getting hot water. That is hot water and grits being poured on your back while you sleep. Third degree burns, had he not got to the hospital as quick as he did, he probably would have died from the shock. That man went religious. That man, look, when he made another record, because he was a soul singer, like, good sexy romance song. That man started singing for God. That hot grits and water on your back will send your ass to God. You hear me? So yeah, so don't never let it get to that point. You know what I'm saying? And I could tell you some stories about people being, played with and cheated on. Like I know, folks or a couple that this couple was a military couple, and they both from America. They in Germany, and my boy, he out there, busting it down with all the German chicks over there. He thought his wife was at work, and she come home early. He busting down so hard, he didn't even hear her come in. She had time to boil water and went in there and threw water on him and the girl, and she got the slicing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, dude almost died. The girl jumped out the window from the third floor, broke her arm. butt naked, jumping out the window, because old girl lost it. You know, they locked her up in Germany. Her mother had to call the embassy here to go over there to get her because they had her locked up. And the government had to go get her. She's banned from Germany forever. They said if you ever step foot back in Germany, you're going to jail. And you're going to do this 10 years that you supposed to get. So I'm just telling you, you know, it ain't worth cheating. I'm like, I don't really get what cheating does for people. I guess it's the thrill and the rush of trying to get over or getting over on somebody. But you know, I'm like, but I just never saw the reason for it. You know, maybe because I was such and quite the player that I was. If I wanted 10 girlfriends, I had 10 girlfriends. 5 knew about the other, and that's real talk. I was about 25 when this was going down. Like for like 5 years, I was current like that. I ain't had no money like on a baller level. I wasn't in the streets or nothing. I had a job, but I was just, a smooth type of fellow. You know what I'm saying? I was just smooth. I had game. I was just, I'm just like, I don't know. Some people got it, but I had it at that time. I was slim. I had wavy hair. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, I look like a model when I put my threads on. You know what I'm saying? And I think I look good. I smell good. I was always groomed, and you know what I'm saying. So, and I was at all the parties, events, and this and that. So I'm around the movers and shakers. I'm meeting all kind of sophisticated women, and and just from you being in different places and around I'm gonna say the it people, it give you clout at the end of the day, even whether you want it or not. They want to know who you are that's in this room of influence. Everybody want to know who you are because, if you in this setting, you around, everybody in this setting is somebody is of influence. And so folks want to know who you are. And, you know, I presented myself well, and you know, you would have thought I had a 500 band sitting out there. You would have thought I graduated from Georgetown the way I was carrying it. You know what I'm saying? And I figured out it's how you present and represent yourself. You know what I'm saying? I used to just study how people like, behavior, if you will. I used to hear the girls say, you know, uh, this dude can't hold a conversation. So that's one thing that I really put my influence in, or time in, just being able to be knowledgeable about different things across the board, and being able to hold a conversation about different things, not just sports, not just about the streets, but you know, uh, uh, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Wherever I was, I adapted, and I could contribute to. Just for instance, I when I watch TV nowadays, and I've been like this for at least 20 years, because I was that person. I watched everything over and over and over, and I just got tired of it. Cable start uh, growing and getting channels, like channels and channels and channels. It was too many good programs on and good shows and movies to keep watching the same thing. So I say that to say I flick the channel every time a commercial come on. You feel me? And I go to watching something else. I could be watching the Jewelry Network, learning about different stones and whatnot. I watch the news. I will watch antique artifact shows, roll house shows, and just a few. You know what I'm saying? As well as everything else, everybody, watch. And so I'm absorbing, information. So you know, I'm just saying, I always had great conversation. And one thing about me, I studied the dictionary. That was just something I liked to do. When I got on that tip about engaging and be able to comprehend, I studied the dictionary. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm on the Bible tip. You feel me? Look at that. Your boy got his name. Look at that. Look at that. King James, the new King James. You know what I'm saying? So, like this Bible, I will study the dictionary. And guess where I got that inspiration from? Malcolm X. Malcolm X did 5 years in penitentiary, and he read the whole dictionary from front to back. That was impressive to me. So I got on that tip. You feel me? And it upgraded my engaging and comprehension. You feel me? As well as just me absorbing information anywhere that I go. And then I added uh traveling to my portfolio. You get what I'm saying? And now I'm experiencing culture firsthand. I'm not just reading about it or hearing about it. And I work with a lot of international folks. So, I know a little something. I don't claim to be the smartest, but I don't hold nobody degrees. But you would think that I did from me just having a casual conversation. I get it all the time. Where did you graduate from? Uh, I didn't graduate. I attended, but you know what I'm saying. But jokingly, I would say University of Google because Google has everything on there to learn. YouTube, Google is like a time machine. You can go back in time as far as you want to go and get knowledge of everything that's going on, in the world, past, present, and tense. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, uh, yeah, but let me bring it back in. I done gave y'all probably a good 20 minutes of talking. And but my title is Let's Learn How to Eat Better. Let's get our bodies back in shape for longevity of living. You know what I'm saying? Now we got the knowledge, we can eat better, do better, let's live better. You know what I'm saying? Because this diabetes is real. You know what I'm saying? And they trying to put you on these kind of medications and give you shots, and that stuff costs. It's a $1 billion industry. So if you healthy and got nothing going on, they can't make no money off you at the end of the day. So I think that's worth it. You know what I'm saying? I want to see 100, and when I get to 100, I want to live another 100 years. You feel me? You know, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. But I do pose the question to folks. If you had internal life, would you take it? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. I feel like depending on how I feel day to day, that question for me to answer it is going to change. Today I might say, hey, I'll take eternal life if it was presented today. And then tomorrow I might say, nah, I don't want it. I'm gonna outlive everybody, and and I'm gonna go through centuries of living and outliving people and losing people. I'm like, so it's a damn if you do and damn if you don't question. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be a question that you have to answer. And then once you get the answer, you gotta live with it. So, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you know, let's get better, let's do better. You know what I'm saying? All right, this the first half. I'm gonna come back with another half on this. Let's eat better, let's live better. All right, part one. All right, I'm checking out to come back with two.